Hi everyone, it's Sasha from Women's Fight News and Susie from Women's Fight News. Susie, I've had enough of you now. We've spent all weekend together. It's too much. After this, I'm having a break.
We did literally all Saturday, didn't we? So
yeah. What did you think of the show this weekend then?
Amazing. Like we just had the figures coming out, haven't we? 2 million people in the UK watched it.
Mm-hmm.
We can see the beautiful pictures of that full stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all the fact that this has happened twice. Women have put on massive shows, sold out the arena, entertained, walkouts are amazing, 2 massive rivalries, 2 great co-main events, full of prospects that were brilliant. It was just a fantastic show from the beginning to the end. People were queuing at 5 o'clock to get in. You had a different crowd because they wanted to be there to watch all the fights. Mm-hmm. So it's all filling out nicely during the evening instead of just being empty till the end. There was a lot more females in attendance than normal boxing matches. It was just, everything about it was fantastic, and I just loved every second.
It was great, wasn't it? I mean, I'm still recovering physically and mentally from it. Hardly slept all weekend because I was so excited. And then after the show, obviously, we didn't get back, did we, to the hotel quite late. I think I got back to mine about 3 a.m. Uploaded the videos. It was like 5:30 by the time I went to sleep. And I was up at 8 because I was still I had so much excitement still. But yeah, Boxer released today that there was 2 million people that watched it. And it is the biggest audience for a live women's sport event ever on Sky Sports, which is just huge. There was another stat that they sent out in an email, which I love. 35% of ticket purchasers were female, and 40% of the Sky Sports television audience were female. That must be huge. That's a huge jump from what we'd normally see. And I think we've seen it ourselves, didn't we, as we were like entering the arena ourselves, how many women there were, how many kids there were. You never see that many kids at boxing anymore because it's a bit ropey sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, one way we should have told, you could probably tell if you're in the audiences, the toilet queues. Because normally at a boxing event, we just waltz into the toilets because there's no queue for the female, which never happens.
Yeah.
No, you would have had queues.
Yeah, I was thinking that actually when we done that Instagram live, I was like, I've never been to a boxing event where I've had to queue for the toilet ever. Like, the hardest bit is finding female toilets. Sometimes you have to walk around for ages looking for them because no one goes. But you know what? I absolutely loved it. And like you mentioned, from the walkouts, like the ring walks, from just everything, the atmosphere, the fact that people were there early, all the undercard, considering in theory it was 9 prospects against the B-side fighters. I would say all of them were high quality for the level that we're all fighting at, considering some girls have only just turned over, some are coming from amateurs to pros. The level was so high, in my opinion. I just loved it.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
And yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. So happy for all the fighters, everyone involved, all just so exciting. Like you say, this is, after Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, it's great that we've had 2 major events this year for women's boxing.
Yeah.
And they're like events. I mean, we've had tons of amazing female fights, but 2 massive events to celebrate women's boxing. That's huge. I mean, it's been a long time coming, I suppose, though.
Yeah. Because it's just been fantastic. It's just got better and better, like you say, because it was last year, I can't remember what month, it was the end of the year, wasn't it, when Chantel Cameron ended up headlining. I can't remember when it was in the end. Was it the O2? It was the O2, yeah.
Yeah.
So she headlined the O2, and that was like, wow, headlining. Yeah. So to literally go from that, where it was like an accidental headline because the main event pulled out and we're all over the moon, it's just evolved so quickly. From that point where we're like, wow. Yeah. Then we did Serrano, Katie Taylor, New York, wow. And then this, wow. It's like it's just getting better and better.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when Chantel Cameron headlined, obviously it was, I can't even remember who was meant to be headlining, and they pulled out because of an injury. And a lot of people asked for a refund on the ticket. So the arena was probably half empty. And I know Johnny Fisher was the fight before that. I'm sure he was, because I remember it being quite full and then it emptied out a little bit. And it was such a good fight. And all them people missed out on that. And fair play to Eddie Hearn for keeping that on, because that was a great opportunity for Chantal Cameron to show people what they've just missed. Those people who left early or wanted, their money back on a ticket, massively missed out. And then what a jump from that situation, which actually got quite a lot of negativity, Chantal Cameron headlining that. Not because of her. I think it was the fact she wasn't meant to. Mary McGee isn't maybe a household name. Wasn't necessarily to do with Chantal, but what, in such a short space of time, a transformation.
That's it. I felt like it almost paved the way. It was like a stepping stone. Like you say, unfortunately, Chantal got the flack, for that. But the fact that she her and Mary put on such a show and showcased women's boxing.
Yeah. And I think people thought, oh shit, what have I just done? I've complained about this. And then they watch it, because they all do. They all moan about it. They all bitch about it. And then they'll sit and watch it. And I think a lot of people were like, oh, yeah, that was really good. That was worthy of a headline.
So I look forward to the day when Chantal Cameron is in one of these headlining one, a show that she's meant to headline from word go.
Yeah.
And that kind of attention like it did on the weekend.
100%.
Because it deserves that kind of step up now.
Yeah. I think it'll be the fight after Jessica McCaskill, 100%. Right, let's break down the fight now. I'm going to start with this fighter. Unfortunately, I did not get to see Ebonie Jones, either did you. So obviously, but I don't like the fact that this ended up being after the main. So she obviously ended up being a floater, which I wasn't aware of. I kept just seeing her opponent, Vanessa, walking around. Now, Vanessa
It wasn't Vanessa. It was a change of opponents. So
it was, wasn't it?
So Jasmina Nad,
Jasmina Nad, yes.
It was very last minute, so BoxRec didn't even change it till last minute.
It was Jasmina Nad, yes, and she was walking around the arena, and obviously I recognised her straight away because at the weigh-in, she's obviously a last-minute opponent. I think she fights a little bit lighter than was this a bantamweight or super bantamweight fight?
It ended up being lighter because it was meant to be at featherweight against Vanessa, and then change of opponent. They wanted her to come in lighter, so then it happened at super bantam and that Ebonie was actually happy with that. So you're right, it is because she was lighter and then she had to come up, or
because Jasmina, God love her, so she's taken this fight last minute, fair play. She comes up on the scales and she's got a hat on, full long sleeve t-shirt. She's got her full length trousers on, massive socks, shoes. And the lady who's obviously on the board was like, nope, off you get, and take a few layers off. So she takes her jacket off and then she's got a bum bag on as well. And I'm like, that definitely had some rocks in it, I'm telling you now. And then she had to take a couple of clothes off. She still had a full trousers on, a full t-shirt set in there, and she was still 4 pounds lighter than Ebonie. She tried her hardest, but obviously the fight went ahead. But yeah, unfortunately, it ended up after Clarissa's fight, so we didn't get the opportunity to watch it.
No.
And it's currently still not available to watch online, as far as from when I last looked.
Yeah, I can't find it either, but I know that Ebonie's put that she's going to get, the footage out there as soon as she can.
Yeah, a shame. I know it's great that she was on the show. No one will ever take that away from her, but it was only 4 rounds, and there was a couple of fights where they were stalling a little bit. There was quite a big gap in between a couple of the fights. And I thought, why you put her on then? Ebonie is a good entertaining fighter as well to watch.
I do feel for her because, like you say, she was still part of the show. She's still got all that, history. Like you say, that can't take that away from her. But I do feel disappointed for her that she didn't get that spotlight moment earlier on. Yeah,
100%. I mean, I don't really know the logic behind that. It was only 4 rounds. They could have got her out. They really could have. I'd get it because I did think the main event come on quite late. Where I'm like, it was past my bedtime. But they'd stalled for longer than what that Ebonie fight would have been. Do you know what I mean? I think it was, I'm sure it was in between, was it Karriss and Lauren, or it was something, there was quite a big stall because Karriss had enough time to get changed and do all of that and do her post-fight stuff, get changed and walk out with Lauren.
Yeah.
Which was quite a big gap. So, it is what it is. But I can't really comment, but she won That's all that matters.
But
she got the win.
Yeah. So well done to Ebonie.
Well done to Ebonie, yeah. And looking forward to seeing her coming back. She's getting better. Like, obviously we don't know about this fight, but from that harsh draw to following fight, there was loads of improvements. Like, her footwork was unreal in her last fight. So yeah, hopefully see her back out soon. So the fight that kicked it off, Sarah and Beck.
Yeah.
So you spoke to both of these actually. So, what were they saying? Like, how were they feeling after the fight?
So when I spoke to Beck, she felt like it, was one of her best performances of recent times. She was really pleased with her performance. She's been working hard with sparring. She's been doing a lot of sparring with people like Shannon Ryan.
Yeah.
Ebonie Jones. In fact, Ebonie Jones's trainer's been working with her a lot, and she's been giving her a lot of tips, and she feels like she's improved quite a lot. And in fact, I felt like it was one of her better performances. Yeah. She put on a real fight with Sarah. Beck felt like she had a draw, and she feels disappointed she wasn't given a draw. I've watched it and I thought Beck did brilliantly. I do feel like Sarah did deserve the win watching it back, but fair play to Beck. She did look great, actually. Yeah. She gave her a really good fight. And Sarah, when I spoke to Sarah, she was actually disappointed in her performance. She says it's because she felt tired. Now, about 3 weeks ago, in between the postponement, she had another fight in Germany where she had a 10-round fight for 2 title belts. And that was 3 weeks ago. And she says her body was tired. She just, at that point, she did the show because obviously she wanted to be on the show and everything. But she kind of pushed her body a bit too much. Everything was tired. And also she's got a lot going on in her life. I didn't realise she's still at university doing psychology. She's only 20. So I just think she's looking forward to a little bit of a rest and then looking forward to get out sort of, I think she said maybe December or January next. But yeah, she said she wants to rest. She's even talking next year because she's in her 3rd year, I believe, of her university course, of actually delaying the finish of it. So she's longer in Florida training because she was training in Florida in the same camp with Claressa Shields.
Not bad. Not a bad camp. Yeah. I mean, I loved seeing Beck Connolly back out all day. That was her best performance in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And I'm so pleased for her. We spoke last week about people calling out for her to retire. And, there were a couple of fights you were like, I don't know how many more she's maybe got in her. But I thought she was awesome at the weekend. I was really, really pleased for her. The first 2 rounds, especially, she landed some very, very nice shots. Yeah. I think, I'll be honest, I think Sarah was probably quite shocked at how Beck come out, because if you looked at Beck's last fight, some fights she didn't throw enough Beck Connolly. Yeah. So I think Sarah might have been taken aback a bit by how active Beck was in the opening rounds. And I can see why Beck thought she'd got a draw. I did have Sarah winning. But yeah, I can see why Beck might think she got a draw on the night. I don't know now if she's watched it back. Yeah, I'd say Sarah definitely won. But Beck stole a couple of rounds.
I thought 2 rounds, the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, I thought, and that's,
I scored it, first 2 rounds to Beck, the rest to Sarah. However, I can, like you say, I can see where Beck might have felt she might have nicked something somewhere else. Yeah,
because it's only then 1 round, isn't it, to get the draw after that? Because all day Beck won the first 2 rounds, no question about it. Yeah. So to feel like when you're in there, you've nicked another round, I can see why she thought that. But something I love, Beck had the biggest smile on her face. Like, she thought she deserved a draw. She'd come away with a loss. I saw the biggest smile on her face. Like, she's just having the best time. And when you were interviewing her, she was just so smiley and just so happy to be there. And it was quite infectious, isn't it, of her positivity. And I know she said she's had a bit of a tough time and she feels a lot better, and it showed in the ring. So yeah, no, well, you know what? No one on Twitter, from what I've seen, was calling for her to retire this time, which I'm happy about. Yeah, I feel like she's back to her old self, Beck Connolly, but even better, like new and improved.
Yeah.
Which is great. Listen, she keeps up performances like that, she's going to nick some wins against some of these girls who are underestimating her. Because she's not one to underestimate. She's so tough. You can't underestimate Beck Connolly.
And like you see, she's getting this great sparring in.
Yeah.
And it shows. It shows, you know?
And that makes such a... I mean, you're sparring with someone like Shannon Ryan as well, who we'll talk about soon, but she's so quick. Like, if you can match her pace and tempo, and you could kind of see that in Beck, like her tempo was so great in the first couple of rounds, and she landed some great shots. So, yeah, Beck should be very pleased with the performance. Yeah, I suppose might not have been Sarah's best day if she is tired. Makes sense. She has been busy. But I definitely think it could have been a case of possibly underestimating Beck and a bit of a shock because, you know, Sarah's young and fresh as well. It's kind of adjusting like, oh my God, she's come out how I didn't expect. So it could have taken her a couple of rounds to settle into it, but I thought it was a great fight to open the night.
Definitely. Yeah.
So very, very happy for her, 100%. And then we had this fight that followed. What did you make of this one?
Ginny obviously dominated the fight. She looked fantastic every round. Her boxing skill is unreal. Her footwork, her speed, her accuracy.
Yeah,
she's phenomenal. And it's the second fight as a pro. She got a knockout the first fight. This fight, you could just see in all the rounds how skilled she is. She's going to go far as Ginny. You know, she's only better. As she said, of pro style. Well, she's there already, but she's going to get settled into it more and more. She's on the fast track, so I can't wait to see where she goes next, really. She looked fantastic.
Do you know what I was shocked about? I went on Twitter and some people said they weren't impressed with her.
Really? I haven't seen.
There was a couple of people who were like, she looks average. And I was like, and I thought, you know what, just compose yourself, Sasha, don't tweet them back, don't start. A few different people who I see quite a lot on Twitter, I normally quite respect their opinions. And I'm not, you know, everyone's entitled to their opinion, it's fine. But some people said they just weren't impressed by her.
What wasn't there to be impressed with?
I agree. Like, for me, she's the full package, and you know, you're looking at she'll be a world, she'll have a world title in a handful of fights, in my opinion. She's that good. She is the full package. She's technically sound, moved in and out well, great hand speed. You know, credit to Gemma, went the distance with her. You know, but it was a great fight from Ginny's point of view. I think she should be very pleased with herself. And, you know, like I always say, even though some people don't think I do, I think Gemma's tough and she can last the rounds. But, you know, there was a chance. I think Ginny's a 10-round fighter in the sense of when she gets past these 6-rounders, we're going to see her knock more and more girls out or at least stop them. Because of her style, she really wears them down, doesn't she? Because she's so accurate.
And she's used to 3 minutes. Like she I think they're saying that in her debut, she was like shocked when it's like the 2 minutes is over. She was just so like you say, she suits sort of the longer rounds. And also she's just getting used to these 2-minute rounds. And you could tell with the corner, they were like, put it on her, you know, pick it up, go forward. And then she like, actually hang back a bit. And they're trying to sort of alter how, you know, they're all trying to sort of gel together, aren't they? And work out the best sort of plan. It's early days, aren't they?
Yeah. I noticed that it was quite conflicted. Yeah, it was like a bit conflicting, the information that she was getting. Because like you say, at one point it was like, right, pick it up now, pick it up. And then she picked it up and they were like, whoa, dude, slow down. But I feel like Ginny's quite an all or nothing person. So when they said pick her up, she was like, well, I'm going to go 3 million miles an hour now. And she could have done that for all 6 rounds, in all fairness. But obviously it's about now getting accustomed to, as the rounds go further, you know, can you keep that pace for 10 rounds? Probably not. But yeah, again, a great fight, a great learning fight. Like I said, I thought Gemma done well to hang in there for the 6 rounds, so it'll be nice to see what she does next. I know she was meant to fight Shannon Courtney. I don't know whether she's on the books for that rescheduled fight. I'm not too sure. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, for me, I think Ginny's going to go on. What do you reckon? Literally a couple more fights, and I think she'll be cool, because she's not a patient girl, is she? You know, she's not going to be hanging around for like 12 fights before she gets a world title.
No, because she was in the amateurs with the best mate, obviously Mikeala Mayer, and with Claressa Shields, so she can see her sort of Olympic sisters that are right at the top of co-main. She wants to be up there with them. And I think she's not hanging around. Like you say, she's pulling out Marlon. So as soon as she gets the opportunity, she's going for it.
Yeah, 100%. And I hope that opportunity comes. I hope it's not a case of people duck her, because she is so good. But any world champion who fights her has a lot to lose, because not only does she obviously bring no belts to the table, in theory, she's going to have a small record. She's going to be like 4 or 5-0, say. So I hope people don't duck her, or could be the opposite and they underestimate and go, yeah, I'll have her.
That is true.
So that'll be interesting. I couldn't remember the order off the top of my head, so I hope I've done the order right. So I think next was Georgia O'Connor. I got to speak to Georgia after the fight.
Yes.
I'm a massive fan of Georgia. I think she's so personable. Anytime I watch her in anyone's interviews, she speaks really well, and she's quite a very positive person. And I liked kind of how she reflected on her fight after with Joyce, who Joyce is tough. I liked watching Joyce Fanny. Really, really liked her. She was unbeaten herself.
Okay, yes.
Coming into this fight.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see Joyce come again. I really liked it. I enjoyed the fight. I know if you remember when we interviewed Georgia and the lights were super bright, so we moved, and then I noticed she had like 2 massive lumps on her head, where there'd been a couple of headbutts, and wow, they looked sore. I feel like she'll be feeling that for a few days.
Yeah, she's a light, yeah.
Yeah, which is, and then we were like, God, that light's bright considering people are coming out doing like rounds and getting punched in the head, and then you've got this like glaring light. But I think Georgia was very pleased with the performance, and I've watched it back again, and she should be. I thought she massively improved, and I rate Georgia. I think she was a fantastic amateur, so she started off as a pro very well, but I loved his style in this. I feel like she switched a little bit. She just kept coming forward, kept hunting her down, kept hunting Joyce down, kept coming forward, was hitting and moving. And then she'd jab away in and then try and land this like big right hand. And it was good. It was an entertaining style of fight. I really, really enjoyed it. But Joyce, she stuck at it. I don't even think she was there to try and survive. She was there to win. She was unbeaten as well. She's not wanting to go away with a loss. So that was a great fight. But for me, Georgia convincingly won. And that's a decent fight to convincingly win, in my opinion.
I remember when we were talking about these fights and we were saying, wow, what a choice of opponent in Joyce, this unbeaten Belgian fighter.
Yeah. Who spent a lot of time with Pursuing as well, who, she knows a thing or two, some would say. So, do you know what I mean? Like, I thought that was a great fight. Actually, like I said, I'd love to see Joyce again. I know obviously that's a loss on a record. I think she can have her own path. She's no journeywoman by any stretch of the imagination, and that's credit to Georgia for taking the fight.
Yeah.
But I know when I spoke to her, she was like, she doesn't want anything less than that. These are the fights that she wants, because this is the only way you're going to learn. She's not going to learn if she's got a girl who's in there trying to survive and just, spoiling her work and things like that. She wants a proper fight, even if it means she comes out with 2 massive lumps on her head from some headbutts. Yeah, it'd be worth it. But yeah, that was great for me. But she's so young. I think she's only like 22, I think, Georgia. Very, very young. So she's got bags of time, hasn't she? Yeah. But future world champion, in my opinion, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah. I'm really looking forward.
It's been so lovely to have all these prospects on, just, right at the beginning.
Yeah. What's amazing is, like, with all of them, like I say, we are going to go through them all, but like, we'll always talk about this show because it's history making. And then just think when, let's just say Lauren Price is the first to win a world title, okay? We're going to remember her as like the 1-0 fighter who fought on this history making card. And then she's won a world title, however long in the future. And all of the girls on this card have the potential to become world champions.
Yeah.
But we've had the privilege of watching them all on the same night in the same card. That's unheard of, isn't it? We never normally would get that opportunity.
Yeah. They'd be like, wow, what? It'll only sound better, won't it? They'll be like, what a lineup.
Yeah. And we'll never get these all on the same card again.
No.
We won't. It won't happen. Like, in the future, you're going to have Georgia O'Connor, because I have April Hunter, Shannon Ryan, Karriss, all world champions, are not all ever going to be on the same card.
No.
So what an opportunity to see them at this stage of the career as well. And for so many, and they would have gained so many fans, and just so exciting to be someone like Georgia O'Connor, who's 22. She's just put in an unbelievable performance. Like, it was so good against a solid opponent. And you're 22 and you've had all them eyes on you.
Yeah.
And just thinking 2 years time, she could be a world champion and go, God, but she's got all these fans to go through with it now.
Yeah. Watch her.
Yeah. So exciting. Another very exciting fighter.
Yeah.
Now, she captured the eyes of a lot of people, Shannon. I saw on Twitter, people and we say all the time, she's pleasing to the eye, isn't she? She's just, her style's so good.
Yeah. She's just so nice to watch. So far. Comes forward, it's exciting. She's always a great fighter to watch, no matter what fight she's in. But her opponent wasn't there to play games. She was game.
100%. Buchra, I tell you, that she kept coming forward. It doesn't matter what Shannon put to her, she just kept coming and coming and coming. And I think we both briefly spoke to Buchra after the fight. Got to meet her brother as well, and just so happy to be there, but not in a fact of like, I'm grateful to be here and that's it. I'm grateful to be here, and I'm also going to put on a great performance also, and that's what she done. It's a shame. I got to speak to Shannon after the fight, and again, that was very kind of her to come back, because obviously Shannon's someone who gives her time for everyone. Not every fighter does that at all.
We watched her, didn't we? She came into the media area, and it didn't matter what channel it was, how big, how small. She worked her way through everybody. And then she then got changed and came back.
Because I got distracted looking for Claressa Shields. That next thing, I was waiting to ask Shannon. And I was like, I'm going to ask her now. And then obviously she, like you say, she spent time with every single person there, which is not many do. And credit to that. And then I looked and I was like, oh, she's gone. But yeah, obviously I think it was a manager, wasn't it, that you called? And very, very kind to her. Yeah, very kind. She got changed, come back and gave us some of her time, which was really, really kind of her. And it was great to speak to her. I love her story. She worked in the O2. And now there she is on a history-making card in the O2.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. That's just so good. And yeah, it's a style. It's a shame it was 4 rounds. I know when I spoke to her, she said it was supposed to be 6 rounds. I think she's had this problem each fight. I feel like she keeps getting the 4 rounders, which is frustrating.
Yeah, I'd love to see her longer. I was getting excited because I thought there was no 4 rounders. I thought everyone was due to do 6 rounders.
Yeah, we said that, didn't we?
It's a shame, but at the end of the day, she's had a great fight on a great show, and there's only one way up, and she's going to get 6 rounds soon enough.
Yeah, hopefully the next fight. I'll be honest, if it was 6 rounds, I think she would have got the stoppage. The end of that 4th round, I think it was a right hand, and it was big. And again, Buchra stayed on her feet. I don't know how. Again, credit to her, credit to how tough she is. But I think if a couple more of them shots, it could have been stopped possibly. But like, it's Shannon. It's not even just her power; it's the speed that she throws, the volume. But she's not wasteful. She's tactical, and when she throws, she doesn't just throw for the sake of it. But when she does unleash, it's high volume, high power.
I felt in the last fight it was Gemma, wasn't it? She fought in the last fight. I felt like she put a lot into the first few rounds and then got a little bit more tired towards the end of the rounds. This time, didn't see any of that. I felt like she had worked right throughout.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think in the Gemma fight, I think Shannon won every round through the referee, his scorecard, but actually, I think Gemma probably nicked the last one. Again, I'm sure that was only a 4-rounder. But Shannon did gas in it because her pace is so high. It's one of them. I don't think she wants to slow it down too much because that's her style. It's just getting used to doing it under the lights. It's not that she's unfit or anything like that, but when you've got the adrenaline and probably nervous energy as well, it's just getting used to that as time goes on. And But she's a very exciting fighter, Shannon, isn't she?
Yeah. I love watching her. And she's an athlete. You can see what she's in unreal shape as well. She works incredibly hard. She's very dedicated, and it all comes through.
Yeah, 100%. And again, credit to both fighters. I mean, the thing is, for every fighter every fight was great, and that's also for the B-side fighter as well. Yeah. Because no girl on this card was like there to survive, in my opinion. That's what made it. Sometimes we see fights, male and female, with the B-side fighters who are just like, right, I'm going to go in, I'm going to survive 6 rounds, get my paycheck, and go home. No one done that, and that's what made Shannon Ryan had to step up. She had to land them big shots to be banking the round. So it was great to see. April Hunter. I'm going to let you go first, actually, before I say my opinion.
Okay. So April, I actually got the opportunity to interview her, which was fantastic. It gave me her time to interview. And she wasn't completely happy with her performance. However, she won every single round on the scorecards. She feels like, because I asked her about how she's getting on with Fury, because she's training in this new, team with Fury. She's got obviously Savannah Marshall within the camp with her. And she displays so much in camp. She's got this power. She was looking for the knockout in this fight, and she felt she was looking too hard. But she knows she's got that knockout power, and it's just frustrating her. And she feels like it didn't give, her performance didn't show exactly what she is like in camp, in training. And so obviously going forward, she wants to obviously show more of what she can actually do. So she was a little bit disappointed, but like I said, she got all the rounds on the scorecards. And so hopefully, as she settles more into her camp with Fury, going forward, hopefully we'll see some more big nights from April. Like I was saying to her, Fury's not one of these that's just going to take on a fighter for the sake of it.
Yeah.
He must see something in her that he sees as something special. And I said that to her, and she was like, well, that he says that. So, hopefully we just see more and more big nights for April as that sort of training comes through, and we see it more in the... I know that there are people out there that felt like she didn't deserve to get all the rounds, and that her opponent nicked a few of those rounds. But I mean, but like she say, this is early days with Fury. Let's see what happens next.
Yeah, I don't like the scorecards at all. I even think April would probably admit it wasn't 6-0. I don't like them scorecards. I don't like it for both fighters. April, it was a tough fight for April. It wasn't her best performance. So I think reflect that in the card. That's not no one's fault apart from the referee scoring it. I'll be honest, sometimes I think they can be a bit lazy with the scoring, in the sense of they're just presuming. I think sometimes because I don't know how he didn't give Erica a couple of rounds at least. I really don't. I thought it was quite a close fight, to be honest, because it wasn't April. The thing I've got with April is it might not have been her best performance, but I feel like she said that a couple of times, and she's only a few fights in. So that would be my concern: is at what point what point is she going to perform on the night? There must be another reason. Is there something? There must be something that's stopping her from performing the way she can in camp on the night, because she has had a loss, which isn't the end of the world, but she didn't perform well then, from her own admission. She's had another fight. I think a lot of fights she comes out and says she's not happy. Now, I get a lot of fighters always complaining about the performance, because, as an athlete, you always think you can do better.
Yeah.
But I don't think she has been satisfied with any performance. And I think there's more of an issue there, if that makes sense. Because if she's performing great in camp, that was not a great performance, I don't think, at all, in all honesty, in my opinion. I think that's a massive issue. Why is she not performing? Is she freezing on the night? Is there something going on? Is there a mentals thing? Is she not able to concentrate? There's something more than just, getting a knockout on the night. There's a lot more, in my opinion. And for me, I think she looks in between styles.
So maybe that's some of it. let's see what happens with the camp. He's long with Fury. Maybe she needs to.
Has he changed his style too much though? Because it just doesn't look. It doesn't look natural from her. I feel like I get this as the Fury style, and she looks a little bit, even her footwork, she had that little run that Savannah does, but it's very natural for Savannah to do that. She does like that little step thing, and I love when she does it. And I saw April do it, and that's great if that's what she's now naturally doing, but I did feel, and I get she's only just switched, but I don't know, I feel like she's had long enough where she should be becoming a little bit more settled. I don't know. But I just think there's something else there that needs working on, not necessarily technically and things like that. Obviously, she does need to settle within a style, but I think it must be something mental, because there's, considering how many fights she has about 5 fights or something. I don't think in any of them she feels like she's performed her best, and I don't know, that'd just be concerning if I was in camp. Or within her team. But we'll see. She is also, obviously, she doesn't have a massive amateur career.
Yeah. So
maybe I'm being harsh. But only because, she's great, and, I'd love her to follow in Savannah's footsteps and become a world champion. But I think she's obviously got loads of work to do, probably. But I don't know. I just feel there must be something on the night where she just feels, whether it's, I don't know, it could be confidence or anything. But there's just something that must be holding her back from doing what she's done in camp. Must be.
Yeah.
So
let's wait and see what happens to the next fight.
Yeah. Hopefully she needs to be active as well, I think, especially when she's switching her style so much. She just needs to keep getting in the ring.
Yeah, although in some ways I feel like she almost needs that little bit longer in camp to settle into that style, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose, yeah. I think my thought is also, though, if it is a confidence thing or a mental thing, she needs more time under I don't know, it's a bit of both, isn't it? She does need time to gel this style together a bit more, but then I think she needs time under the lights to build her confidence.
Sure.
It's probably a bit of both, which doesn't work, does it? But I think the opponents she had on the night, I think these are the type of opponents that she needs while she is gaining confidence and having time within the team and things like that. So yeah, ideally if she could get out again the end of the year, that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Karriss.
Yes.
Bronze medalist, the power puncher.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I love this fight. I love Karriss. I think she's phenomenal. I love everything that she brings, like in the fight. How her opponent did not go down, I will never know. She threw everything and the kitchen sink at her. She has great footwork. She has such great aggression. She has great shot selection, and those body shots, like literally, I feel sick for the opponent. I wince.
Yeah. You could just hear them, can't you? We were in the back and you could hear them.
Like, and she was like, that first round, you could tell she was so hurt, bringing her arm down to protect herself, and then she'd get her again. I'm like, oh my gosh, how she didn't go down, I'll never know. But what with Karriss, what I really like is that she has it's the word that there's a bit overused in my opinion, but she really does have it, is that spite.
Yeah,
she's got that killer instinct. She goes in and doesn't hold back, and is very intimidating. And I think being an opponent of Karriss, it's very intimidating to see her coming at you.
She's so lovely outside the ring, and then like terrifying inside the ring. She throws, yeah. Tasha Jonas was great on comms, actually, I thought, and she spoke very well about Karriss, and was saying how she's every punch, it's a punch with meaning. She's not wasteful. Her shot selection's very good, but she doesn't bullshit about, does she, when she's throwing? I mean, she throws with such intent. I thought she moved up and down the body really well as well. That's like them, like you say, them body shots are horrendous. But then she done like this. It was a right, because she's southpaw, isn't she? So it was a right hook to the body. Marina kind of obviously uncovered, and then she just follows up with like a quadruple jab. And just like ping, 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 ping. I was like, oh, it must just be horrendous, mustn't it? For like someone like Marina, who no matter whether she's got a high guard, it's the body. Then she drops, she's getting pinged with jabs and straights. she's just such a great all-round boxer. I think she's slotted in to the pro style perfectly. And that's why, and I know I mentioned it quite a bit, I don't want to see her back in the amateurs at the Olympics. No. She's got a bronze medal. That is something that no one will ever take away. She should be incredibly proud. But that style, why go back? That style that she's got won't win her a gold medal. It won't in the amateurs, but it'll win her an undisputed title.
Yeah, I totally agree. Concentrate on this style.
Yeah. So good.
Fantastic for pros. Such a good style. And we know that she hurts because we've heard it from so many people, so many boxers, that she's so hurtful, and she's just going to get better and better.
That's it. But like you say, absolute credit to her opponent, Marina, who I think she's only ever been stopped once in her career. And I was like, I don't know how. I do not know how. But just the will to keep in it. And you know what? She didn't just survive though. Again, she was still trying to throw. She was still trying to get her own back. But it's tough against Karriss. Like she's got great footwork as well. Like she's just got everything. It's a bit annoying if you're her opponent because she's got everything. But I love watching Karriss. She really excites me. And I know in her debut, probably out of all the Olympians that turned over, she was the one that everyone really raved about. She just has kind of slotted right into the pro style, like straight away. And it's the power. It's the power. Oh, but I know she wanted the stoppage. I hope she's not disappointed by not getting it because we just got to see more of it, which is better for us, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's always good to get the rounds in. Get that, get the rounds in, get that experience in.
Not that anyone cares, but if it was me, I'd want my first 5, 6, 7 fights. I'd want to go the distance. I'd want to be banking all of these rounds. And I would want knockouts then against girls who I'm 50-50 with.
Yeah.
Because, for instance, Claressa Shields, Savannah Marshall, even though Savannah's got 10 knockouts on a record, people did keep saying, well, some of them are like whatever Claressa was saying, like tin cans or whatever. When you get further on and become a world champion, you don't necessarily get credit for them stoppages anyway early on in your career because everyone says, well, she was a journeywoman. She had, a losing record. So for me, when they get disappointed with not getting the stoppages, it doesn't really affect your career. When you're getting the stoppages against 50-50 girls, that's a statement. That's different. But like I say, I think it's well better to be banking the rounds at this level all day. I know people are saying about Karriss and Sky, they're just such different fighters. It would be an interesting clash of styles. But the fight I want to see is Karriss and Raven. That'd be terrifying.
I just think maybe a tournament at this stage because we keep mentioning everyone at featherweight.
Yeah.
What about a tournament? That'd be great, wouldn't it? Like a super at featherweight.
There's quite a few girls, isn't there? But yeah, that's great. So looking forward to Karriss coming back out.
Yeah.
And again, I think she'll progress quite quickly. I don't think there'll be much messing around for Karriss at all. Another Olympian, Caroline Dubois.
Yeah.
She got the stoppage. It was the 5th round stoppage.
After a down, didn't she? She got knocked down in the 4th.
The knockdown was funny, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was right at the end, wasn't it? And then it was
I don't really know how she hit it because it looked more like it didn't look like it hit. It was weird. I can't really, if no one's seen it, go and have a look. Like it was a knockdown, but I don't know if it was. I don't know if Milena was just a bit off balance and she was more hit kind of here on the inside of the wrist. It wasn't a clean hit. It was a bit, but also was it a bit of exhaustion?
Bit of a hit and a push, maybe, but
yeah, I feel like it was. I think she was a bit off balance, but I also think she was tired. She'd taken a lot of shots at that point, so she went down. It wasn't the cleanest of knockdowns, but then Caroline just unleashed, didn't she, in the 5th round? Oh my god, unreal.
I mean, she looked great from word go. She looked fast. She looked strong. She looked the full package. She made it from word go.
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of my performances from Caroline.
Yeah, and again, it's a nice balance, isn't it? Went 5th round, so she got the rounds in. But she's just great, isn't she? She's got a good jab. She can go to the body well. She's got that big right hand.
And do you remember before I was saying she didn't seem to go to the body much in her last fight?
She listened to you.
It must have been a training thing where she was just practicing her shots, because she did it perfectly in this fight.
Yeah. And that's how obviously she got the stoppage. She went to the body and continued, just absolutely just let go. And then Milena ended up having to, I think she obviously sat on the ropes. And at that point, she was just exhausted, wasn't she? And it was a great stoppage. Again, I mean, you can see why everyone tips Caroline to be the future of boxing. And to be fair, anyone in the lightweight division's having a bit of a nightmare, because obviously we have Katie Taylor, who dominates at the minute.
Yeah.
I personally don't think Katie's got years left in her. I think she might have about 12 months, and then she might call it a day. And by then, I think Caroline Dubois will be at world level, and then she's going to hold all the belts, and then no one else has got a chance. It's just a bit of a nightmare at lightweight.
Awesome.
Yeah, I do. I just see Caroline, when she gets to world level, she's just going to dominate, isn't she? She's going to dominate at lightweight. I presume she'll move up if there was opportunities there. And I can see why people say like she's the next Katie Taylor, because of how dominant Katie's been when she's had them belts. She doesn't let them go, does she? She's just kept hold of them, and I feel like Caroline's going to do the exact same in that division. So if you're a lightweight, you might have to move up. Yeah, but no, there's a lot of great lightweights coming through, actually, especially in the UK. We are quite lucky with that, but Caroline's just very special, isn't she? She is a special talent.
Yeah.
It's a family thing, obviously.
Yeah.
A couple of them do quite well.
Yeah, we had her brother was ringside, which is lovely, and
yeah, it's great to see, isn't it? So, yeah, loved seeing Caroline again. Congratulations to Milena. I know she got stopped in the end, but to get 5 rounds, because she took some big shots as well.
Yeah.
So, credit to her. And like I say, there's never any shame of getting stopped by someone like Caroline, because I think she'll be the one that has a massive stoppage record.
Yeah,
as well. I think she'll have a huge percentage of that throughout her career. Lauren Price also got a stoppage.
Yes, I loved Lauren's fight. I thought she came out different to her debut. She came out she was much more aggressive.
Yeah,
much more hurtful. Again, there was a lot of intent behind every shot with her. So I know she's actually been sparring Karriss, something. They've been doing it like home or something, I think.
Why not?
And so whether she's been taking some tips off Karriss as just the more of the pro style, the spiteful for hitting, but she looked different. She still had the fast hands, but I felt like there was some more power there. She looked fantastic, and so she's definitely going to be another one that's going to be world titles down the line.
100%. I mean, I loved Lauren's debut. A lot of people were very underwhelmed by it because she didn't get the stoppage, or maybe she didn't look as powerful. But she's so good to watch that I wasn't that bothered by that. I mean, I'm not that bothered about knockouts and stuff like that. I just love seeing the full rounds. When it's that good, I don't want it to stop. So I loved Lauren's debut performance, but 100% with this one, she's got everything. She's still got, I mean, I love her footwork. She's got the hand speed, but like you say, she's been watching Karriss, obviously, because everything had power in it, didn't it? But not wasting. What I like is you don't load up, though. Caroline's the same, Karriss is the same, Lauren. Everything was through with intent, but without loading up.
Yeah.
It wasn't trying too hard. They kept light on the feet. They sat down on the shots, but then they moved off.
Yeah.
And that's what was great to see. And I thought the stoppage ended up being underwhelming in the sense of, but I get why he done it. So it looked underwhelming, but she did keep looking at her corner. Yeah. And during the round, that's a no-no for me.
I've rewound it back and I was watching it again. And the commentator was like, she keeps looking at her corner. She was literally asking to be pulled out.
And I think she was like, towel. And
the referee saw that desperation in her. Yeah. And if the corner weren't about to listen to her, he was. So
yeah, it's slightly concerning that the corner, because then the corner were upset that I got stopped, and I was like, she's asking
Yeah.
She's struggling. She's taken a lot of punches. Why take any more? You know what I mean? Like, it just becomes dangerous then, doesn't it? You know, she'd Timea had done a lot. She'd given it her all, but she's fighting against Lauren Price, who, like I say, was just even better than her debut somehow. And she was throwing such strong shots that I'd be a bit pissed off with my corner if they could see me looking during the round. I mean, Lauren's coming forward, like, Timea's on the rope. She's literally looking for help. Lauren's unleashing more body shots, and then they're just like, go on. Like,
literally not wanting to fight at that point, was she? She was just
like she looked, I'll be honest, like, I thought she looked terrified at some point, like she just didn't want it to happen anymore. And I mean, even a guard, everything was just looked weak because I think she just had enough. And I was like, throw the towel in. Like, the ref shouldn't, when it's in that situation, you should know your fighter better than anyone. I think the towel should have been in before the ref stopped it, but thankfully the ref stopped it. Because when I don't listen to commentary a lot because I think it can be really shit and biased sometimes. But so I had it on like mute and I watched it and I was like, that stoppage was awful. And I rewatched it and then you see where she's not even, you can see her head like turn and she's not even looking at Lauren. Now she's like looking towards her corner. So it was a good stoppage. Can't blame her because she took a lot.
Yeah,
she took a lot of shots. So yeah, you know, no one can blame her for that. Great performance from Lauren. Can't wait to see her again.
Yeah.
For me, she'll be the first world champion out of them. If we're talking about the 3 Olympians, out of them 3, I think she'll be the first world champion.
With the other 2 not far behind because, damn, they were all
the following week.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, with Lauren, she can kind of, I mean, she'll fluctuate a lot of the weight. So she fought as high as middleweight in the Olympics. In the amateurs. So she could probably float between 4 or 5 divisions, do you reckon?
Yeah. And she's naturally, like, you see a lot of people floating around sort of welter, you know, whereas she's a natural welterweight. Yeah. So it's exciting to see what she can do with her size because there's a lot of little fighters.
Jessica McCaskill, a little welterweight.
So it's exciting to see someone who's actually a natural welterweight who's going to look so dominant, you know?
I mean, that's a fight I'd like to see if Jessica still has the belt at welterweight in, 12 months?
Yes.
That'd be massive. But there's quite a lot of girls that could probably challenge at welterweight now because there's so many who are moving up. I mean, we'll talk about Mikeala Mayer in a bit, but I think Mikeala Mayer could hold the welterweight titles sooner rather than later. But we will talk about that next because the co-main, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Can I just say, the walkout for me from both of them, loved it. I've watched it so much. Like, how chilled is Alycia? Like, Alicia's living, like, Alicia's going to the club. Like, she's not going to the ring. She's going to the club. She's living her best life. She's like, you know, she's got the moves, hasn't she?
Yeah, she does.
She's got a bit of rhythm, has Alycia Baumgardner.
Her sparkly outfit was just phenomenal.
She looked amazing, didn't she? And yeah, she even had her arse cheeks on display and no one was complaining. She did later say that she had a wedgie, didn't she, right from the beginning?
I thought, because Terry Harper tweeted to say she'd forgotten her shorts. And to be honest, I thought she must have forgotten her shorts because it was that much of her bum on show.
Yeah.
So that wedgie didn't still put on that performance. That must have been...
Yeah, it must have been hurting a little bit that, but you know what? But she looked great. Yeah. She looked great. It was fine. Her outfit was actually amazing, I must say. It was stunning. And yeah, I don't think she cared that she had her ass on display at all. Yeah, from both of them, great ring walks. Yeah. I did love it. Obviously, we had Mikeala Mayer, Spice Girls.
And the dancing. Oh, shout out to those girls that did all the dancing with the fighters. They're amazing.
And we obviously stood next to them, didn't we, where we snuck into where we were sneaking in. And it was great to see how, obviously, they were cheering for Mikeala Mayer because they've just danced for her. And they were so into it as well, weren't they? And they were great dancers. And what an opportunity for them.
No. Do you know what? That is a point. How fantastic that they not only danced, but that they stood and watched and didn't just vaguely watch. They were into the fight.
So into it, weren't they? They were very invested, which was Yeah, which was great to see. Like, you know, I think obviously they were gutted Mikeala didn't win, but they were so invested throughout the whole fight. And yeah, great opportunity for them as well. I love seeing stuff like that. Obviously, I'm presuming they're from like a local dance group. And
yeah,
what an opportunity to get people involved. Like, again, it's new eyes on the sport. So great job from Mikeala Mayer for thinking of that. So what did you think of so we watched it live. Have you watched it back since?
I have, because we obviously watched it together. And we saw it very similar because...
And I kept hitting you because I was like, oh my God. You got hit more than the fighters.
Initially, and I tweeted this because I was shocked by the result because I did Mikeala Mayer to get the win. Because the way I saw it from watching it live, I felt it was around 7-3 to Mikeala Mayer. So I was surprised at the result. And obviously... everyone booed, so I felt like a lot of people in the stadium felt the same, and a lot of people online. However, there's always a different side of the story because obviously the judges saw it differently. They gave it obviously a point over to Alycia. So it's always important to watch these things back and to look at things, you know, again, and look at what other people have said, look at different, you know, look at all sides. And I've watched it back since, and obviously I feel it was a lot closer than I initially thought live. However, I do still give it to Mayer.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Okay.
I felt, I mean, this is do you know what, both put in a great performance and they were both brilliant, and it could have gone either way, and I'm happy if either of them got the win, to be honest, because they put on a show. They both deserve to be on that platform. So I'm happy that if either of them won and Alycia won, and I'm happy for her, and I think she deserves a moment. However, when I was rescoring it, I scored about 5 that I felt for definitely were for Mayer. And then I felt 2 definitely for Alycia and 3 sort of swing rounds. So if those swing rounds went to Alycia, I felt like it could have been a draw, but equally on those it could have still been potentially 7. So I agree with that other judge as well. So I do feel a lot of it is down quite subjective as to how you feel watching it, and that is boxing, isn't it? What that one judge who scored it 7-3 isn't wrong, is how he saw it. And who saw it 96-95, it was 96-95, wasn't it, to Alycia, they weren't wrong either, because that's how they saw some of the swing rounds. They gave it obviously the 50-50 rounds to Alycia. So basically I'm just that it's whatever styles you preferred. I think really what the answer is, let's get a rematch. You know?
It's a funny one, isn't it? Because obviously we watched it live. When we all went back to like the media bit, everyone was like in shock, weren't they? Everyone was like, you know, they had it 8-2 Mayer. We had it 7-3. I think a couple of others had it 7-3. So at the time I actually felt like it was a robbery, and I hate that feeling because I always feel sick, because I feel like someone has just been robbed of. It's not just a fight, is it? It becomes life-changing, especially when you're talking this level and you're talking about an undisputed fight next. That's life-changing, a moment. Because how I saw it on the night, I felt on the night, because I have rewatched it, that I didn't think Baumgardner was landing a lot. I thought she was just floating around with the jab and not actually landing. And I thought Mayer's jab was landing a lot. And I thought Mayer dominated with the jab. So I had it 7-3. And then I've rewatched it. And then by the halfway point of the fight, I had it 4-1 Baumgardner.
Yeah, that's complete.
And I think Mayer will kick herself because she just started too slow. She really did. Even Coach Al in the corner was like, right, you got to, like, after the first round, his words was something like, you've got to pick it up. That was too close to call. And what Mayer was doing was what she needed to do to win the fight, in my opinion. I thought they had the tactics down to a T. It was all about keeping the range, because it was never going to be like the Hamadouche fight where Mayer was going to fight on the inside, because Alicia's got that big overhand right. Mayer was never going to want to engage on that inside. So Mayer done exactly what she needed to do and kept the range, land the jabs. She just didn't do it enough for me. So I gave the first two hands down to Alycia based on her being more active in the round. And I think that's where she's lost the fight.
I didn't feel like she was, when I was looking at those rounds where neither of them were, it was hard to call. I just didn't feel like Alycia was active enough to go, it was definitely her round. It just wasn't clear enough for me. I still feel like Mayer, a lot of the times, did that little bit more.
I think it is a case of what you like.
Because I felt like Alycia missed a lot. Like she looked phenomenal. Like, I love her style, the way she sort of comes down and gets that power, brings her, looks phenomenal. But a lot of them were missing.
I thought Mayer missed a lot though. Mayer didn't land nowhere near as many jabs as I thought. It's for me, I had it 4-1, and then I think, there was a couple of swing rounds where I think Mayer done a lot better in the second half of the fight. I thought Baumgardner tired in the second half. I think it could have been 6-4 either way or a draw, literally. Like, it's one of them. I can understand why Mikeala Mayer is bitterly disappointed.
Yeah, of course.
I really feel like if she just upped the pace a teeny tiny bit in the first couple of rounds, it would have been her win. I get why she wants the rematch, 100%. It's a split decision. It was very close. I'm not going to call it a robbery, a close fight. On the night, I thought it was, because I thought it was 7-3. For me, it's so close. Either way, I'm going to be ecstatic for the winner and gutted for the loser, because I love both of them.
And that's my now opinion, is that I wouldn't begrudge either of them, because they're both on the platform. They both put on a show. It was a close fight. It's however people saw it.
So here's the thing, though. So as a fan, all day I want to see that. Now I'm going to say, though, it didn't light up the way I thought it would. The fight. It was still a great fight. It was still a great fight, especially as a boxing fan, because I feel like you could appreciate it. I think as a casual fan, I don't know what people would have thought of it, because it might not have been as high paced as people might have initially thought. However, all day I want to watch it again. But people are saying like, oh, Baumgardner doesn't want it because she knows she got beat. Why would she offer the rematch? And if it was the other way around, would Mayer give her the rematch?
Well, I think Mayer, because I've seen a couple of interviews with Mayer, Mikaela Mayer.
Yeah.
And she's point, it's a lot to do with money as well. Because they have career, best pay packets. Alycia goes off to fight Choi. I mean, they're undisputed. But is it going to make the same kind of money as a rematch with Mikaela Mayer? No, it is not. Nowhere near. So it's not just about belts. It's about money as well. If she believes she can beat Mikaela a second time, then why not go for it and get that pay packet and go again? But we'll have to see, because, like you say, she's got sights now set on becoming undisputed against Choi and heading in her direction that way. But I just think...
How easy is it to get the Choi fight?
Well, yeah, is she even going to get the Choi fight? Choi might just keep avoiding everybody again.
All day for money. Yeah, the rematch makes sense. It should headline in the US. That's a headline fight. They're both unbelievable fighters. That has to headline in America. I mean, obviously, selfishly, I'd love it to be in the UK.
Yeah.
But it has to headline in America, because the two American fighters, they have to do it. And I think that them two will be pivotal in continuing to improve women's boxing in America.
How I'd like to see it played out. I mean, obviously, I think Mikaela Mayer, I'd still like to see her against going up in weight and going against Katie Taylor. But if we don't see that, what I'd like to happen is I'd like Mikaela Mayer to get the Choi fight, right? Which I wouldn't even be surprised if Choi went for it, thinking, well, she lost against Alycia, I'll take the easier fight.
Yeah, literally.
Even though it's not at all, but I could just imagine that. And then, obviously, I reckon Mikaela obviously wins that. And then again, the rematch is then for undisputed officially.
Yeah, in an ideal world. But I don't think Mayer has 2 fights at featherweight, super featherweight in her.
No.
So for me, I can't work out, because it was a close fight, but I just don't think it was Mayer's best performance. And I can't work out whether, I don't know if weight was an issue because it didn't look it on the scales, in all fairness. But it didn't look it for Terry Harper either. Do you know what I mean? It's how you perform. I couldn't work. I just thought Mayer backed off a little bit more than I thought she would. And I couldn't work out whether she was struggling at the weight to have high energy. And I don't know whether she was a bit conservative because she was worried about going 10 rounds, or whether she did feel Baumgardner's power and it made her back off a bit. But for me, it just wasn't the Mikaela Mayer that we knew. And yet it was a close fight. Yet it could have went either way. But I'd love to see the rematch. If it's going to be an immediate rematch, yeah, I'd love to see it. If not, I think she moves up. They will fight again at a different division. They will fight again. Baumgardner will clean up. She'll beat Choi. She'll become undisputed. She might have a couple of fights to defend, and then I think she'll move up. I don't know how high Baumgardner could move up because she's teeny tiny, isn't she? Obviously, Mayer's tall. But they will fight again in another massive fight where they will headline. There'll be belts on the line. So if it's not featherweight, it's super featherweight, sorry, it'll happen again. Yeah. But I don't know how much longer Mayer's got at super featherweight. So,
But, you know, I still look. I mean, when I watched it live, I thought she looked phenomenal, Mayer. I thought her jab looked amazing. I thought she was keeping her good at range, and watching it, the fight was a lot closer. But she's got those skills, Mayer, and I still love the way.
Do you think she was as active as she normally is? So, do you think she threw the same volume as she normally does?
A different way she was fighting. I mean, obviously she fought against Maver Hamadouche. Yeah. It was just a different fight for me. I felt like she was boxing Alycia, whereas that was more of a brawl, well, not brawl, but like a forward fight with a war with Maver. So therefore it was high paced because, as we all know, Hamadouche brings the energy. She's relentless, and you haven't got any choice but to be relentless back. It's just a different type of fight.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I think she did enough to win, in my opinion. But boxing, and for me, they both won in a way because it was such a close fight that they're both superstars and they're both going to go on to do more phenomenal things for the sport.
Yeah, the stock rose for both of them without a shadow of a doubt. Both of them, I mean, for me, they're both top 10 pound for pound fighters, in all fairness. I think a lot of people thought Mayer would win because Baumgardner we didn't know enough about her, I suppose. She's proven it again, though, hasn't she? She's come to the UK. She beat Terry Harper. I mean, I love what Eddie Hearn posted, where he said, Alycia wanted an opportunity. We gave her one. Now, look, it just shows, if you're persistent and consistent, take your opportunity. It's life-changing.
And hats off to her. Come over to the UK twice as the underdog. Performances is phenomenal.
Yeah, twice. So, yeah, I mean, but I also think Mikaela Mayer, for me, will go on and do fantastic things. For me, in a perfect world, I think after Jessica McCaskill and Chantel Cameron fight at super light, where I think Chantel wins, I would love to see Mikaela Mayer challenge Jessica McCaskill for undisputed at welterweight. All day, Mikaela could make welterweight. Yeah. I would love to see that, and I'd love to see Alycia clean up her featherweight, and I think the two will meet again at the right time. And I think that's what I'd like to see, but I understand why Mikaela wants the rematch. Obviously, it makes sense.
Can I just say this statement? Baumgardner's going to get no matter what, because the way the women's boxing is at the moment, unless you're Katie Taylor or Claressa Shields, you're not going to be getting these massive. And in fact, even Claressa Shields, this is her biggest payday. You get the big money when you fight the big names. It's the fact that Claressa Shields fought Savannah Marshall that she got the big money. It was both fighters that brought the level up. The same with Baumgardner versus Mikaela Mayer. Their fight together, their rivalry, everything made the fight valuable. And I'm sorry, but either of those fighters fighting Choi, they ain't getting the same money because the interest isn't there as much. So it's not any disrespect to Baumgardner. It's the fact that any fighter, you fight someone not as well known, you're not going to get the money.
Yeah, I mean, someone else put Alycia is marketable. 100% true. She'll make good money. This was her career high purse, career high payday, and you are right. It won't be the same against Choi. It won't be, because it takes two to tango, doesn't it? Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano both had their career high payday because of each other. Mayer, Baumgardner, Shields, Marshall. It takes both of you to have that career high payday in women's boxing at the moment. So
that's it, because I agree. Alycia is incredibly marketable. She said she looks phenomenal. She dresses brilliantly. She's very she's great at talking. She's a great speaker. She's a great fighter. She has got it all, but she still needs, like you say, that person to fight against to bring the interest, to make it bigger.
Yeah, all day. I mean, I loved seeing Baumgardner in the post-fight press conference. She just had the biggest smile on her face. It was just so infectious, wasn't it? Like, and you know, she says she's got a lot of respect for Mikeala Mayer. You know, she said you have to say things to sell a fight. We've sold a fight. She said I've got a lot of respect for her, but she doesn't deserve a rematch. I think that's fine. At the end of the day, I know it's close. It's a split decision. I'm not a fan of immediate rematches because we'd never get anything done in boxing if every time it's a close fight you have to rematch, because it'd stop us from having close fights if that was the case. I don't like the rematch clause at all. I know there wasn't one for this. So I think sometimes you just have to take it on the chin and go, it wasn't my night. And I know it was close and I know it would be disappointing for Mikeala Mayer. Love Mikeala Mayer, but she'll go on and do great things anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's a bump in the road. I know it's not ideal, but she wasn't going to stay in featherweight. Bloody hell. She wasn't going to stay in the super featherweight division for long.
She's always going to move up.
She was always going to move up. She was always going to move up. So, yeah, I want to see it, but I want to see it when the time's right. A little bit like, look at Terry Harper, Tasha Jonas, that potential fight.
Yes.
How big is that going to be?
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to see that situation with Mikeala Mayer and Alycia Baumgardner, where they are making 7 figures, they are headlining, and do you know what I mean? Like, I know Mayer will be disappointed now, but it'll be worth it.
And that's what I mean about the money situation.
Yeah.
It's because the interest is there for both these fighters. They've had a close fight. They've got this huge rivalry. Alycia wears the top with saying she's going to dog walk her. It's all building this massive fight. I'm not saying that Alicia's not going to make money on other people, but this is the massive money-making fight in a rematch.
It is, so don't rush it, because they could rematch now and get 6 figures, or rematch in 12 months for another weight division for more belts, and you'll be headlining an arena for 7 figures. But not only that, you're the superstar of women's boxing at that point. So there's no rush. I know as a fighter, Mayer will want that rematch, but just for me, I would love to see her move up, maybe have a couple of fights at lightweight or super light. And I think if she'll want belts again. So if you know, and I don't think they'll give a Katie Taylor. It's too risky. Too risky. They won't give a Katie Taylor. Not when the Amanda Serrano rematch is on the card. So go and get the belt off Jessica McCaskill. You're done. Sorted. And then Terry Harper, Mikeala Mayer.
Oh, do you know what? I was going to say, you can imagine that them all being back in the mix, but the different way. Because you were saying that they're going to be back in the mix, Alycia and Mikeala. Like you say, Terry's going to be in that mix with them as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and again, that's the fight Mikeala Mayer, Terry Harper, the fight that never happened, but it will happen, and it'll be worth even more money later on. So, yeah, just quickly with Connor Wright, who absolutely hates anytime I mention Choi, but that's okay. I want to make a point. I've not said ever that Choi is not a good fighter. Because I don't see her fight, so I can't comment because she doesn't fight enough. I can't say whether she's a good fighter or not. She won a world title on her first fight. I feel like that kind of speaks for itself. And listen, you know what? She could go and beat Baumgardner. I'm not saying she will. I think Baumgardner wins all day, but who knows? She could become undisputed champion, but we won't know unless she fights. And I agree, she is poorly managed, but there has to be a bit of ownership there in her as well. Has to be. So we'll see.
I just don't understand how the belt's allowing this. like you say, there's just no consistency across the different weight divisions. Belts, because how one person can win a belt and immediately be told they have to fight the mandatory, to another person who can hold a belt for however many years and never have a mandatory to face
or a fight.
I think that's what annoys me, is just how different it is for different people.
Because she initially Joy's fight wasn't for her belt, it wasn't a title defense, and I think they had that much backlash. They were like, better you'll have to defend your title today. Sorry, Choi. I know you wanted to keep it for another 30 years, but we've been told you got to put it on the line.
Up to this point, it should have been that Choi had already fought of either Baumgardner or Mikaela Mayer, and this should have been for
She should have fought Terry Harper. I know initially that was cancelled because of Terry's hand, but Terry wanted that. Blessing in disguise for Alycia Baumgardner, because Alycia wouldn't have got the opportunity if it wasn't for Choi being inactive. But she's turned down fights with Terry Harper, Mikaela Mayer, and Alycia Baumgardner. Now, the fact that Choi, in theory, is with Matchroom, not that she does anything, but in theory, she's got some form of contract with Matchroom, and Alycia is, you would expect this fight easy to be made. And I think Eddie will push that because he knows he can make a shit ton of money off Alycia Baumgardner now. Especially, I think his aim needs to be push her in America. He doesn't really have that, because he doesn't particularly push Jessica McCaskill the way he should, considering she's undisputed. So I think Alycia can be like the golden girl of American boxing, and I think he will market her very well. So to do that, it needs to be undisputed. So let's see what happens. But great fight, and I am looking forward to what's next for both of them. But we won't see the rematch anytime soon. And then the big one. How good was this? How good was Clarissa's ring walk? How does she memorize that dance before a fight?
She loves it. I mean, she does TikToks all the time, doesn't she? She dances in the gym all the time. And so I think she just, because quite often on her stories, she's always doing a little dance.
Yeah.
So she just loves it so much. It's something natural for her to want to do that.
I think the personality showed in the ring walk, didn't it? Savannah was cool, calm, collective, and just made her way to the ring. And that's her personality. I think it's great. It was great how different they are as people. I think that helped sell the fight. They are chalk and cheese, aren't they?
Yeah, completely different. But do you know what? They respect for each other at the end. And in the post-fight press conference, Claressa Shields admitted that this is part of the whole game plan of it all. She said things she didn't mean at all to Savannah. I mean, obviously she meant all the things she said, the stuff about her own achievements, Claressa, but everything else, obviously, she didn't mean, and she respects Savannah. So lovely. It was lovely to see the respect between them at the end.
Yeah, just such mutual respect. And you know what? I must say absolute credit to Savannah Marshall, who is so classy in victory and in defeat her whole career. She took that like a champ. I think she knew she hadn't got the win, but didn't spit a dummy out. Said such great things directly after the fight in the ring, which is tough at that moment. It's not even like she's given herself 2 minutes to reflect. Obviously, Clarissa was very emotional to start with. In that post-fight interview in the ring, they brought Savannah in. She just had such lovely things to say, and obviously said she is the greatest of all time. And they've got that mutual respect. And something Savannah said in the press conference, and it's like nearly brought a tear to my eye, where I think the clips went around quite a bit, where she said, she is disappointed she didn't get the win, but if it's helped, boys and girls and inspired them to get in the gym, it's all worth it. And that's this generation at the minute of, Savannah Marshall probably will never fully reap the rewards of her own success financially, but the next lot of girls coming through will. And that's massively down to her. No one can ever take that away from her, that she's now a pioneer in the sport. Whether she obviously she didn't get the win, but I think when you retire, no one really cares about the belts and stuff anymore, because when they retire, the belts go to someone else, and we're talking about them. but we'll always talk about Savannah Marshall, Claressa Shields headlining this historic fight. And no one can ever take that away from you then.
And what an exciting fight. Honestly, one of the greatest female fights of all time. It was just so good and so entertaining. And it takes two people to make that.
Yeah.
So, you know, respect to them both, because they both put on a show and it was phenomenal. So,
yeah.
Again, women's boxing wins, because what a performance.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Claressa come out so fast, didn't she? And I think it I wouldn't say it surprised Savannah, but I think Savannah was overwhelmed. I mean, in the first round, all Savannah could do was cover up, and Claressa's just unleashing. But then Savannah comes back, and Claressa admitted herself she was buzzed by Savannah, and you know, she lost sight in one of her eyes for an entire round, went blurry. You know, she said she does hit hard, and Claressa said every single round she had to bite down on a gum shield, because she does, you know, Savannah does bang hard. And but I loved how Claressa was like, well, you know, she got to one of the, I think it was like halfway through, and she was like, well, if she hits me hard to the body, I'm going to hit her hard to the body. And she just matched that. But that shows how tough that fight was for Claressa. She did win. For me, I know probably 7-3 to and I know Peter Fury wasn't happy. One of the cards was 7-3, and he thought it was closer. I think Savannah felt it was closer than the scorecards. I don't know. For me, it was 7-3, but Savannah was more than competitive in every round. But what she done was just brought out the best version of Claressa Shields. That's how good Savannah is. Yeah. She brought out the best that we've ever seen of Claressa. And Claressa's just ridiculously good. She is just another level, isn't she? She goes well above being a fantastic world champion. She's just in her own element, isn't she?
And she's a phenomenal talent who's got an amazing legacy, and she's just going to get even better and better. You know, she doesn't want to retire until she's 35 now, so she wants to keep going and building on that, and it's just phenomenal. But you know, like I think her team was saying, and you know, I think Mark Taffet was saying, you can only build this legacy with your opponents. You know, you want these. Claressa wants to fight the best, you know, and for her, having Savannah around has just been amazing, because it's brought out the best in her, like you say. That's fantastic.
And Claressa wants that rematch.
Yeah,
she was the one who called for it before Savannah, because she knows at this moment in time Savannah's her biggest test, and she got buzzed by Savannah. That should give Savannah confidence and go, you know what? If I just clip her once, you never know. And I'm not saying that'd happen, but Savannah can go into that next fight with her head held very, very high, knowing that she pushed Claressa to her absolute limits. And one more punch, or just that, you know, if she landed a big right hand on the temple, it could all have changed.
Yeah.
So it makes, even though for me it was a convincing win for Claressa, the rematch is just as exciting. One, such an entertaining fight.
Yeah.
And they'll both learn a lot from it. Makes it even better. You know, and what'll make it exciting is Savannah will have to come out with a different game plan this time or the next time. And that's why it would become unexpected.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope we see the rematch, because they'll make it even more money. I'm not sure how much they've made for this. There's like conflicting things that I've read. It's definitely the career high purse, but if they didn't get 7 figures for this, they should be getting it next for sure. Do you think it'll be in the UK or the USA?
Well, she's already talked about USA, Claressa. She's come out with saying she'd like it to be in the USA, and seeing as though she's won the first match, I think she'd get her way, wouldn't she, more? So, but then saying that, like I said before, money kind of rules sometimes. It does depend on where the money is. If they can make it in America and make it work financially, I think it'd be America. Otherwise, I guess it would be even bigger in the UK, wouldn't it?
It's one of them. I mean, Peter Fury can't get to America also. That's a bit disappointing. I mean, Claressa deserves the fight to be where she wants it to be.
Yeah.
I mean, in theory, the money is in the UK, but there needs to be a fight that makes it big in America. Now, I know Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano was in America, but I still felt, I know this sounds really strange, but I still felt like it was like a UK show just in Madison Square Garden. I know it sounds strange, but I think because Katie Taylor, in theory, she was the home fighter, but she's Irish, and we know her from UK and all of that. I feel like it needs a full American card for it to really light up. The co-main for Katie was Liam Smith. I feel like we need this massive women's fight in America, but to get all the Americans invested in it. So having Claressa headlining with a stacked card full of American prospects this time, maybe, or however they want. It doesn't have to be all female, but however they want to do it. I just feel like it needs something now for it to really hit off like it has here.
And obviously, probably Top Rank would take that on, seeing as they're sort of in a partnership with Boxer, Sky Sports. And they've obviously got such a huge platform to make that possible, because their PR, their everything's amazing. So I think they make a great card. Equivalent. If anyone was going to do it, I think they'd do a great job in America. And they've got Denisa Estrada, who's a superstar. They could have her on the card as well. Ginny Fuchs again. That would be pretty special.
Yeah. Like I say, selfishly, I want it to be in the UK, but I just feel like we need another big fight on top of Serrano and Taylor now. Like, we need, because for me, what changed women's boxing in this country, where it like boomed even bigger, was Fight Camp. Yes. When we had so many, even from Shannon Courtney, Rachel Ball, we had Terry Harper, Tash Jonas. That for me, Casey Taylor, Delphine Pursoon, that was when we've seen these like back to back 50-50 high quality female fights. Whereas I feel like we're not quite getting that in America all the time. So they've just not got that momentum. So I'd love to see it there as like the next big show.
Yeah.
With Claressa headlining, because she deserves that. She deserves it to be in it wherever she wants it to be. But I think that could be then the next step for them to continue growing women's boxing, in my opinion. And then I have to ask, do you think after the rematch, does Savannah retire?
No, I don't think she should. I mean, personally, in some ways, I don't want the rematch straight away. I Savannah Marshall to go away and have some other fights under her belt, because I think she could dominate a lot of divisions. I'd like to see her dominate in her own right, and then the fight will be even bigger and get some more experience, because at the end of the day, they might have been the same 12-0 both going into the fight, but the experience is vastly different. Like, Claressa had achieved a lot more, had a lot more bigger nights than Savannah. So I feel it'd be lovely to get Savannah a bit more experience, have some mega nights of her own, and then make it even bigger between them.
Makes sense, definitely.
Although, and I know that obviously Franchon wants to face them, but I wouldn't like to say who wins that. That's the mega fight.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you, Susie.
I wouldn't like to call it, because I never want to go against Franchon, because she's somebody who you can't bet against, because she just steps up and does the job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just seen Savannah in this mega fight with Claressa, and I think, wow, she could dominate a lot of rounds. So that would be a great fight.
It would. It'd be a massive fight. It would. I don't know. I still don't think we'll see it. I think we'll see the immediate rematch, and I do think she'll retire. I hope I'm wrong, by the way. I think when I say this, people think I'm wanting her to retire. It's definitely not the case. It's just what I've heard Savannah say out of her own mouth. I asked her the question. She said, yeah. Even Claressa, mentioned it in the post-fight, saying, I know she wants to retire, but there's a lot more fight left in her. So it's a known fact. I don't know why people think I'm making it up. I don't think we'll see the Franchon fight. I would love to. Because I don't know, I think I would love to have seen Savannah do more in America. I know she started her career off very briefly in America, and I think the Americans like her. I feel like it'd be nice to see maybe she could do the Franchon fight, build her audience, and then take the Claressa fight, both fights being back-to-back in America. I don't know, but for me, I think we'll see the immediate rematch, but depending on what Claressa's doing with MMA.
Oh, that's obviously
true. She's got that to juggle, hasn't she? I don't know when her next fight, because obviously they've pushed that back. So I think that's a bit thingy, and so whether, because obviously I know it's not boxing, but Claressa will be getting out again. So obviously Savannah will have to do something in the meantime. And people put, I think Savannah Franchon Cruz would be a better fight. It's a more winnable fight for Savannah.
Is it?
It's more winnable. I'm not saying she will win, but it's more winnable. For me, the rematch with Claressa will go. Claressa will still beat Savannah. I just think it's one of them situations. It's like Anthony Joshua and Usyk. Usyk's always going to beat AJ, but AJ could probably beat the majority of other people. For me, Claressa will always beat Savannah, but I think Savannah beats nearly everyone else, if not everyone else. I think I would back her to beat Franchon.
I'd love to see this because the way Franchon fights, this would be such a fiery fight, won't it? It would be like fists flying. Who's going to connect with who? Who's going to hurt who first?
Franchon's fight in Madison Square Garden was so good. The atmosphere for that, everyone's like, ooh, like they were just landing. Like, God, it was some heavy shots, some heavy hit, and that was such. She's just an entertaining human being, Franchon Cruz, isn't she? And I mean, for Franchon as well, I'd love her to get the fight. She needs a big payday fight now, doesn't she, Franchon? She's not got what she deserves in the sport, in my opinion. I know she's undisputed, but she's not being respected the way she should be, in my opinion.
And how long did she wait for that fight? How many times did that undisputed fight get rescheduled?
I think it was 3, wasn't it, in the end? And then it was a blessing in disguise because it got on a good card, but
it was going to be on a Tuesday or something at one point, wasn't it? Something ridiculous.
The back street of like a New York bar or something on a Tuesday night.
It was ridiculous. Strange. So I'm so glad it got picked up for such a mega night for her.
Yeah. And Claressa has said that she would fight Franchon, but obviously they're good friends, and she said you would have to pay us both a lot of money, otherwise she's not interested, which is fair enough. For a fight like that, they fought on their debut. Unreal. Yeah. Brilliant. For that, they're going to have a massive payday.
Yeah, and Franchon obviously designed her fight kit for Claressa.
Which was amazing.
Yeah, so they are such great friends. Like you say, it'd be very difficult for both.
Here's a quick question. So Claressa mentioned that she would happily go to super welterweight. So I've got 2 questions for you. First one.
Yeah.
Who wins, Claressa Shields, Tasha Jonas?
Do you know what? With Claressa, I don't see anyone at the moment. Ebonie Bridges put a tweet out saying, I don't see anyone beating Claressa. I can't see anybody beating Claressa, to be honest. There's no one at that weight that I can imagine beating her, to be honest.
So if I ask Terry Harper, Claressa Shields, you're going Claressa?
Yeah. And that's no disrespect to any of those fighters, because you know how much I rate Terry and Tasha. I just feel like she's just a special fighter, and she's just so good at what she does.
Yeah, it's also tough, isn't it, to think who could beat her?
She's quite a lot bigger than both of them, if you think about it from that point of view, because Tasha and Terry have come up, obviously. She's come down. There's quite a big difference in what their natural weights would be.
Yeah, and that's why I don't even know if I want to see the fights, in the sense of it is so polar opposite. I know Claressa in the past has said she'd love to fight Katie Taylor, and Katie was like, it just can't happen. Like, Katie won't move up that high and all of that. Yeah, I know Tasha and Terry are both at super welterweight and they've performed brilliantly. But yeah, it'd be crazy to think. You'd never have suspected that they could possibly fight. But the big paydays, because Tasha and Terry are good sellers. Boxer have invested massively in Tasha, Matchroom invested massively in Terry. So payday wise, it's quite good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if we'll see it. Possibly.
I'm just more interested in seeing Tasha against obviously Marie Takare.
Yeah.
Seeing if that pans out. And then the winner facing Terry, because then that's all the belts, isn't it, for undisputed? And then see where we go.
Someone's just put, which I was thinking, but I was too nervous to say. No one beats Claressa above 147, but would she be weight drained back at super welterweight?
No, I think she goes down lower potentially, but then she thinks she could go down to welter if she had to for the right fight, because she would have fought Jessica McCaskill, because I know she was calling for her at one point, and she thinks that weight even.
That's too, like, Jessica's a tiny welterweight, isn't she?
Mm.
We'll see.
And that's why she called out Katie Taylor, because she would be willing to go to welter, and she thought if Katie Taylor would be willing to come up to that weight, that's why she had it in head. I agree, shouldn't happen, but that's why she was thinking of that.
Katie won't even go. I think Katie at super light is obviously the heaviest she'll ever go. I don't think she's got any interest, has she? She's not got any interest in moving down either, because obviously Jake Paul did ask if she'll go down to, I think, featherweight, and she was outraged.
Well, because at that point you think she's won that initial fight and she's got all the belts, whereas Amanda's will become undisputed, but at that point she didn't have all the belts, so therefore it just didn't make sense.
All day. I mean, it'll be interesting. I think we could see the immediate rematch in America. If not, you've got Hammer as well for Savannah Marshall. You've got Franchon Cruz.
Yeah.
I mean, Claressa Shields has got options, and she's got MMA. Like you mentioned before, I'm happy to hear that Claressa wants to keep going until she's 35, because I remember in the past she was quite keen on retiring fairly early, 29, 30, which is early. We've got pros who don't turn over until the 30s, so I'm glad to hear that she wants to keep going, and it'd be interesting to see what more she can achieve. Not that it's much, she's got nothing else to prove, but it's great to see. I just want to quickly mention on Nina Hughes, congratulations to Nina. I believe she ended up defending a Commonwealth.
It changed, the last minute change of opponent, so therefore that's why she ended up defending that rather than the WBO belt.
Rumours, I won't say who, but rumours on a big fight for Nina coming up. I know we're both excited if that gets announced. So keep your eyes peeled for Nina Hughes.
And if anyone wants to know what those rumours are, just go to Jamie Mitchell's tweets herself. She's been actually tweeting it out. The date.
Oh, when?
Yeah, earlier today, I think it was. She actually tweeted.
This is why I shouldn't work.
The date, everything.
So when is the date? Because I've had conflicting information.
If this is Jamie Mitchell's account, because we've had some doubts in the past.
Oh, yeah, we're not sure, are we?
The Jamie Mitchell Twitter account that's quite active has said it's the 26th of November.
Where in the UK?
Hasn't said where.
Because I heard Dubai, but then I was confused because the Dubai show's earlier in the month. And I thought, well, there's no way Matchroom are doing 2 Dubai shows, are they?
So I heard 26th of November, and
okay. I was just having a little peek then.
So she's actually tweeted herself out saying she's going to face Nina Hughes on the 26th of November. But like we said, hearsay, rumours at the moment, but how amazing if this actually is true and comes to light and actually becomes official.
Yeah, be a huge fight. Great opportunity for Nina Hughes. It will be life-changing if she wins. I believe she then will have the opportunity to sign with Matchroom, which is always convenient because obviously the belt stays with Matchroom, so it's within their interest, but it becomes life-changing. She'll get a decent payday for this, but if she wins, it's only the beginning for her. But Jamie Mitchell, tough cookie, isn't she? It's a 50-50 fight. It'll be great to see, but Nina, people will underestimate her. I presume Nina will go in as the underdog, but if she shows what she's about, she got another stoppage, didn't she, at the weekend? So it'll be an interesting fight. Jamie Mitchell got a stoppage in her last fight. She's not being as active as Nina, but it'll be a great fight. So hopefully that is all confirmed for the end of November. Exciting times. And then on the same show, Dee Allen, I think she won her first title, if I'm correct.
Yeah, the international welterweight title.
Yeah, and I want Dee Allen to be signed now. She needs, come on, Ben Shalom, Eddie Hearn, anyone, because she's so entertaining, isn't she, Dee Allen? She's so good to watch. A welterweight, we like them at this division. And there's another one that'll be fighting for world titles in maybe 12 months.
Yeah, and she's just Can you imagine she does those knockouts on a big platform? These highlights will be played everywhere. So yes, she just needs that opportunity to show what she's about on a big platform and she's away.
Yeah. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for her. I think if she keeps doing what she's doing, it won't be long before. And I've got a feel it could end up being a case where they'll have her as like classed as like a B-side fighter, like, we'll come in and take this fight, and then she'll get the win and take the world by storm. She'll kind of do like an Alycia Baumgardner in the sense of she's knocking on the door for these opportunities. She gets one, and then she beats Jessica McCaskill or someone and becomes undisputed world champion. But D'Allen is that good, and I hope she gets on a big platform soon because she's a knockout artist as well. Like, she is entertaining. She'll be a fan favorite. Again, very likable, very personable. So fingers crossed. But she's been nice and active as well, which is nice to see. I like to see her out. And then that's it. Well, there was more, wasn't there? Go on.
Yeah, we've got Sky Nicholson. She's won a Commonwealth title at featherweight over in Australia, the first Matchroom show in Australia. And she
got a knockdown, didn't she?
Down. And it was nice for her because she managed to showcase her skills in her home country. I mean, what country hasn't she fought in already now? She's got
some stamps on her passport, Sky.
But I think it was lovely for her to go over and win her first professional title in her home country. And yeah, she did what she did best. And
it was a good performance again, wasn't it? Again, Sky's been so active. She's taken every opportunity that's been given to her. She has flew all around the world, which I love to see. But it's just great, isn't it? And it's great to see that, she's another very dedicated fighter who's upped and moved her entire life to pursue her dream.
Yeah.
It's a long, long way away. So it's great that she's obviously had the opportunity to go and fight back at home. She got the win. Do you know what I'm going to say, though? Sky Nicholson, Raven Chapman. Come on, let's do it.
Yeah.
Steffi Ball, let's do it. Let's get that sorted. They could fight like 7 times in their career.
And can I just say, she's got a British passport, so can we start claiming her as a British now as well?
People used to do this in tennis. We wouldn't call them British unless they started winning stuff, and then we're like, oh, they've got a British passport as well, so we're going to take them. Also, Heather Hardy won.
Yeah, and she looked phenomenal shape.
Did you see her tweets where she said, my daughter's moved out and it was the easiest camp of my life? Obviously, her daughters went to college or university. And she said, like, now my kids moved out, I had like the easiest camp and like easiest weight loss ever.
I'm just rooting for her all the way. I mean, I know you're a huge Heather Hardy fan.
Yeah, love Heather.
She's of the generation where she's such a legend of the sport, who's pushed for equality. She deserves to have her spotlight in the moment, because it's just such a shame that she's pushed for things like the night of the week. Like the weekend, these things wouldn't have happened without all these fighters before. Like Heather had a hand in this, and it'd be lovely if these fighters had their moment to shine. And I just really hope that Heather gets to have this second wind of her career, and get some bigger paydays and get some recognition of the people, the new fans,
Yeah, Heather Hardy is an example of someone who will not reap the rewards of their own success. It's unfortunate, but she has been such a pioneer in the sport. Again, undervalued, underappreciated within the sport. I think it's been a real shame. She's had some great opportunities. She's had a great fight against Serrano. She's a former world champion as well, Heather Hardy. But like you've just mentioned, that night that we've just had, Heather's a massive part in that. We don't see her necessarily as a pioneer because she's still an active fighter. It's one of them, like, people aren't appreciated until they're retired, which is unfortunate. But that's why I love Heather. She's done so much for the sport. She doesn't just do it for her. I don't even think she does it for her anymore. I think she does it for the wider scale of it. I think she does it for all the girls coming through. Amanda Serrano with that fight with Katie Taylor. Well, Amanda Serrano had that great fight with Heather Hardy. I'm not saying that's what blew Amanda up. Amanda's always been a great fighter. But again, that was the case of it takes two to tango. And that fight rose Amanda's stock. And look what Amanda went on to achieve.
Tickets,
Yeah, and they hardly got any money for it as well.
Yeah.
I remember Heather speaking about that. It was disgusting. But this is what I mean, so underappreciated. Them two girls sold out the majority of that. I think it was in Brooklyn, that one. And they barely got anything. And then I remember Heather saying on a podcast, some other guy was on the undercard and got paid more than her, even though, one, she was headlining, she had a world title, and she sold so many tickets.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's unfortunate because she'll be a fighter who's done so much for the sport, and when she retires, she's not going to be financially secure. She speaks about that a lot. But other girls eventually will, and it'll be thanks to her. She's played a massive part in that. I know it doesn't put money in her pocket, but it's still a great thing to do for the sport. And I think someone like Heather will be involved in the sport for the rest of her life as well. I hope. Some people just also quickly talking about Mary Spencer. But can I just find this one? Sky has the style to beat Serrano. Do you know someone else said this to me the other week as well? And I couldn't. I mean,
it's
not right now.
No. The thing is that they're chalk and cheese, their styles, aren't they? First of all, completely different styles, completely different parts of their career. Amanda's legendary status, taking on the fights that are going to make her undisputed or give her that legacy kind of fights. Whereas obviously Sky's right at the beginning of her career, so I don't think we'll ever see a fight between them anyway.
No.
So it's difficult to say because we haven't seen the prime yet for Sky.
Yeah, no.
Different styles. I mean, if there was ever a style to beat Serrano, it's somebody who can box on the back foot and not get into a brawl. But they would have to be exceptional, at doing that. That would be. I mean, we haven't seen that other than she had one. She's only ever had those two losses, hasn't she, Serrano? Because she's such a great at what she does.
One was early on in her career, I believe, wasn't it? And she had a draw as well.
And that was kind of a boxer. And obviously Katie had a lot of success in the fight by boxing her on the back foot. So I'd hazard
Serrano won that fight.
So I'd hazard a guess that is a way of beating Serrano. But Serrano's great at what she does.
No one beats Amanda Serrano.
So right now, no, obviously, like we say.
I don't think any of the, like you've just said, none of the prospects will face Amanda Serrano. I think we've got 12 months left of Amanda and Katie, and then they'll retire, and it'll be time for the next girls to come through. Again, not because I want them to retire. I just think they've done everything they need to do in the sport. And Amanda Serrano will be undisputed. I believe the fight is coming quite close to being finalised with Erica Cruz. Mm-hmm. So, again, it's boxing. You never, ever know. But hopefully Amanda Serrano will finally get a chance at becoming undisputed at featherweight. Right, that's it.
Oh, there is one more bit of news. Obviously, Shanika Johnson had defended her IBF.
Yes. How did we forget?
And that fight. I haven't watched the fight yet because obviously we've been very busy. But what a fight it looked like it was, because it was a second round, I believe. Ramadan and Neeks. I don't know whether it was a clash of heads or what it was. Hugest gash above her eye.
It was so deep, you could literally just see flesh and probably a skull.
And the blood. I mean, I've seen pictures, and her face is just red. Her outfit's red. And I think everyone was surprised it wasn't stopped. But credit to her cupsman in the corner, because obviously he managed to keep her in the fight. And I believe she won convincingly against Ramadan. It's just the fact that it made it an interesting fight with his cut.
Yeah, I've watched the fight. She won convincingly, in my opinion. She knocked her down as well. She knocked Suzuki down. Yeah. Cut was horrible. But you know what? Neeks was so calm, composed, didn't let her infect her. It's like she didn't know that she was covered in blood. Her sports bra started off white. It ended up just red. It was as red as Mikeala Mayer's outfit. It was... Yeah, but absolute credit to her. But yeah, very, very convincing. Didn't quite get why the fight was the fight. I don't know how that ended up happening. That's not Nick's fault. She's went out and fought who's put in front of her. Yeah, like to just
and then
see it go.
At the end of the fight, there was a bit of controversy with the speech.
So Susie Q's come out and I can't really say apologise. I don't quite get what she was doing. It was like, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. So I'm pretty sure she tried to claim like her words were twisted, but I was like, but they're your words coming out your mouth, so no one's twisting them apart from you. Didn't like it. I'll be honest. Sort of, it just classless.
The crowd booed it, didn't they? They didn't like what she was saying because basically
it wasn't even, in my opinion, it wasn't. You can't even say heat at the moment.
It was the boxing, Australian boxing, of being racist, and she accused Neeks of being on drugs because of the fact that she managed to go the whole rounds with the cut.
That's appalling to accuse someone of that. You know, we've just had controversial stuff with Conor Benn, who's got a failed drugs test. That's fair. We can now presume or talk about the fact he could be on drugs. Do not call out a fighter without proof. It's disgusting. You could potentially ruin their reputation.
Yeah.
Don't be bitter that you've lost. I don't like any of that. I think it's absolutely awful. Awful to say that. But she has said that about many fighters. I think every fighter apart from her is on drugs, apparently. So it's a bit odd for me, in my opinion.
That's the thing. If she says that about every single fighter.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was a good fight. I would suggest people watch it just to see the cut and how Neeks does it. I wouldn't watch the post-fight interview from her because it's just too negative, really.
So who does Neeks, so Shanika Johnson, fight next?
Who do you think?
It'd be nice to see her unifying, wouldn't it? It'd be nice to see you fight. I'd like to see Australia, potentially.
Yeah.
Get platform.
I'd like to see her in the UK.
Yeah, get more people eyes on her. Nice.
Yeah. Who would you like to see her unify against? Anyone in particular?
I mean, I know that Celine wanted to fight with her. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Any UK fighters who don't have a belt but could have a belt in the future, do you think that could be a possibility? Would Matchroom have her over here?
Ellie Scott knew what to do. But I know that she's already turned down his fight. I don't know whether she wanted a voluntary fight. And now she's done a voluntary if she takes any of these.
Because I think that could be a possibility, the Shanika Johnson Ellie Scott fight.
Yeah.
I know he's keen on Ellie fighting for a world title.
Yeah. What about some of these featherweights? Because you've talked about them moving down because of the featherweights quite.
Well, I know Sky Nicholson had hinted that she will go for a world title, but it could be a different division, and I don't know whether she meant up or down.
Yeah,
I would presume down, but I don't know, because that's the problem with featherweight. You're looking at Amanda Serrano holding all the belts, and if you're one of the girls who are coming through for your first opportunity at world level, you're not fighting Amanda Serrano. You know, you need to be super. You know, you need to have won world titles yourself and had successful title defenses before you want to jump in with someone like Serrano. So for as long as she's got the belts, it would make sense to try and move up or down a division. But then if you're featherweight, moving up, you're into super featherweight, and you got Alycia Baumgardner. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like, so realistically, probably super bantam is more of an open division. With fighters on it who don't have massive platforms, some of them.
Yeah.
Which works out in someone like Ellie Scotney's favour when you're on Matchroom, that they're happy to pay for their fighters. You know, they could bring Shanika Johnson over. It'd be great to see her in the UK. And she's a tough fighter. I mean, you don't have a cut like that. I mean, literally, it was like, people need to go and have a look at it. It was disgusting. It was just awful. But what a fight that would be. I'd love to see that one.
Yeah, that would be very good.
Yeah. So yeah, it was all going off this weekend. I actually forgot about how many fights there was.
One more thing was Marina Alvarez was meant to be a world title fight at actually. Who is she fighting? Oh, the names in my head now.
Don't ask me.
She had, isn't it the champion that fought Rano? Mikado.
Oh.
So it was Yamalif Mikado. It was a great fight. But it's been postponed. It wasn't much noise, and it just suddenly shorts happened. There's been a couple of days, either end of October or 5th of November, rescheduling.
Right. I didn't even know that fight was happening that soon.
Yeah, so hopefully they'll do a bit more promotion for it for that.
Yeah, it's always unfortunate, isn't it? And like you think, like I'm quite, I'd say I'm quite a big boxing fan, and like there's sometimes that fights like go by, and I'm like, did not know that was even happening.
Yeah,
like, and I know it's hard to keep up with it all, but some certain fights you're thinking, feel like we should have all been speaking about that.
Yeah.
Feel like next week, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything major, but I know we have Katie Taylor coming up in a couple of weeks in London. Ellie Scottney will be on there. We're talking about Ellie Scottney world title. Obviously, she has to defend her title against Mary Romero also. And then, obviously, we've got...
Not defending a title. She's taking on Mary Romero.
Oh, yes. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so Mary Romero is coming to defend her title. What title did Ellie have? Because she vacated hers then.
She had what does she have? Like an intercontinental.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So she's going for the European, isn't she, against Mary Romero? A couple of weeks later, it'll be Chantel Cameron's turn. And then I feel like there's quite a bit happening in November, isn't there? And then we've got a nice big show in December as well.
Yeah.
Like non-stop. I feel like we need a little break. Might ask Eddie Hearn to just give her a couple of weeks before another show. Let us catch our breath. Tasha Jonas is coming up as well in the not too far future. So there's actually loads of massive fights again for female boxing. Loads coming up, so it's exciting.
Talking about how he wanted to out in December. But if that happens.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Right, been a pleasure as always. Everyone watching, thank you. Make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you. One more thing.
Go on.
Things you mentioned a few times. She's fighting Dubois.
On what show is Raven fighting on?
No.
All I know is she's fighting in Dubai. Like, I can't work. Is it the Tommy Fury? Because Tommy Fury's fighting in Dubai, isn't?
No.
Good opportunity for Raven. They were massive Raven Chapman fans. Great opportunity to see her out. I mean, Raven's only a few fights away before she goes for a world title. Obviously, she's got her first title now. So yeah, just loads and loads and loads going on. So exciting times. Hopefully we'll have like confirmation of Nina Hughes' fight as well for the next show and see what happens. Mikeala Mayer will come out, I'm sure, and speak a little bit more. So it'd be interesting. This week will be interesting now, won't it? The aftermath of the big weekend. So I'm looking forward to it. Right, been a pleasure as always.
Yeah, I'm sorry to keep interrupting with more news. It's just so much going on.
I know. Well, you know what I'm like. When it gets past 9 o'clock, my brain doesn't work and I will forget. There's just so much going on. I was so focused on the London show, I literally forgot. I mean, I managed to watch Sky because of the time difference. But yeah, there was loads going on, wasn't there?
So much.
Exciting time. And there's more come up. So yeah. But yeah, everyone watching, thank you. Make sure you hit subscribe and follow us on social media as well.